Hi, I'm Kim from KimberlyKoehler.com, and today I have a wire-wrapped bead link necklace tutorial for you. So this tutorial is kind of the second necklace in a set of 3 that I'm showing you. So you can create a nice layered look if you like. You can wear this necklace by itself, of course, or you could do the chain necklace from last week and this necklace from this week. Next week there'll be the 3rd necklace, this nice long chain with the pendant. So we're on this necklace here. So you're going to need a few beads. I'm going to show you how I chose my beads. For my long pendant, this bead is kind of sentimental for me, and I chose the other beads to go with it. So let's get started. So before we even get started on today's tutorial, I wanted to talk about how I chose the components for my layered necklace look. So for today's tutorial, I'm going to be using these beads, but kind of the main focus of this necklace, this whole layered look, is this bead. So this is a bead, but it is a stone that's drilled through, and it has sentimental meaning to me because I actually picked it up while I was on vacation this past spring, and we went to this place called Rock City, and it's in New York, and it's super cool. It's kind of prehistoric looking. I'll probably post some pictures on social media so you can see what it was like. So I'll probably post a link down below so you can see the pictures. But anyway, I love incorporating kind of sentimental, special pieces into my jewelry, and I highly suggest that you do that too. It is great to find things that are just beautiful, that you just love, or something, you have an outfit, you need a certain color scheme or something is perfect, but I love adding just sentimental pieces along with it. So this is the main bead, and it's kind of green, and it has some lighter greens and a darker green. And then I had these beads, and I think these are just from Michael's. It kind of looks like something I would have gotten from Michael's. I don't often buy beads there, but every once in a while I'm there looking around and they'll have a sale or something like that, and I'll grab a few beads, and the color is perfect. So I'm going to be using these beads for this layer. This piece I'm actually going to be showing you next week. It's going to be the long necklace part, but I want the beads to kind of go together. If you don't have like a separate different bead for the long necklace, you might want to just use one of the same beads from this necklace for the other necklace for next week, so you might want to just save a bead for that. So the materials that you'll need for this necklace are some beads, and depending on how large your beads are, that sort of thing, it depends how many you would need. The necklace is the beads in the front with a chain in the back, so it's really up to your discretion. I'm using, I think it's 2, 4, 6, 7. I'm going to use all of the beads that came in this package, but you can decide how many beads. And then you're going to need wire, and you're also going to need chain. So this is kind of a series that we're doing here. So last week I showed you how to make this chain. So that is the chain I'm using for this. So I just created 2 different chain pieces, and they'll kind of be one for each side. I'm not going to show you how to make this chain this week. You can go back to last week's video to see how to make the chain. Find the link below in the description. And then you are going to need round nose pliers, wire cutters, chain nose pliers, and then bent nose pliers come in handy, or just like another pair of pliers. And then you'll need a jump ring and a clasp. And it's also handy to have a Sharpie. I'll show you that in a second. You saw last week. I just like to make a mark on my round nose pliers so all my loops are uniform. Okay, so as I mentioned, the Sharpie is to make a mark on your round nose pliers. So you just want to make a mark on the barrel, and this is just to make sure all your loops are uniform in size. It doesn't matter so much where you make this mark on your pliers, just make sure you use it throughout the entire process. That way all your loops are the same size. So you just want to use a Sharpie. I'm using ultra fine points. Mine already has a mark from last week that stayed on there. If you did last week's tutorial, you can use the same mark. You may need to kind of remark it. Let it dry, and then we can get started. We're going to start by making a wire wrap bead link. We're going to make several of these. And so what you want to do is cut a piece of wire that is a few inches longer than your bead. And you can measure, you can just kind of eyeball it. I usually eyeball it, but I happen to have my ruler right here, so I just grabbed it. And then about an inch from the top of the wire, I'm just measuring to make sure I'm being accurate. Hold the wire in your round nose pliers, and you're also going to line it up vertically with the mark you made in your on your round nose pliers. And then you're going to wrap around, form a loop. So you have a loop here, and then you're going to hold your loop in your chain nose pliers. I'm going to wrap around once. While I'm wrapping around, I like to pull the long wire out. This is just to straighten the loop on top of the wire. And then I usually switch hands, and then we're going to go around 2 more times. And you can just use your hand like I just did, or you can use your bent nose pliers to help you. And then I did a tip video on how to finish wire wraps kind of professionally. You can watch that, or we're just going to do it right now. So you want to trim off the excess wire, making a flush cut. So that is the back of your pliers, the flat side toward the work, so toward what you're leaving behind. And then you want to grab your chain nose pliers, and you can kind of see this little ends poking out still. And we're just going to take our pliers and go around, and then we're just trying to push in the wire while also kind of pushing it around. And I'm just squeezing my wraps together, make sure they're all close. And then you just want to take your finger, make sure that's not poking out at all. And now we're going to slide our bead, onto the wire. Now I'm grabbing my round nose pliers again, and again I'm holding the wire, vertically lining it up with the mark on my round nose pliers. I'm holding it about 1/4 of an inch above the bead. And we're going to do the same thing. The only difference is this time there's a bead there instead. So wrap around, make a loop, hold the loop in your chain nose pliers, go around once, pull the bead out so the loop is straight above the bead. Now I'm switching hands, and again you can do these wraps with just use your hand, or you could use another pair of pliers. You go around 2 more times, trim off the excess wire, and then you just make sure that end is in, it's not poking out, in the same way. So that is one bead link, and we're going to continue for all of these, but I'm actually, you could make all your bead links and then attach them with jump rings if you like, but I'm actually going to interconnect them so I don't need jump rings. So I'll show you how to do that. So I'm just going to put this one aside for now. I'm going to cut another piece of wire. Starts out the same way. About 1 inch from the top. I just showed you this. Form a loop. Hold it in your chain nose pliers. Straighten out the wire. Go around 2 more times. You can use your butt nose pliers if you need. Trim off the excess wire. And just make sure that end is not poking out. In case you wonder what I'm doing, I have this little tray where I put all my little scrap pieces of metal and everything I need for my project. And keep stuff from rolling around. Okay, now we're gonna add our bead. Slide that right on there. And about 1/4 inch above the bead. Hold the wire and then rope again, lining up vertically with the mark on our pliers, and we make a loop. There's the only change is you slide that this is the first wire wrap bead link we made, so the loop, slide that on there. And now we just continue as if that's not even there. Just kind of let it hang off to the side. Go around once, straighten out the loop, and go around an additional 2 times. Make sure this is straight. Trim off the excess wire. Chain nose pliers to make sure that end is not poking out. And so that's 2 wire wrapped bead links. So I'm just going to continue until I have all of my beads connected with wire wrapped bead links, like so. I have all but my last link added. So you could just add your last link like normal and then use jump rings to attach your chain. But I actually am not going to use jump rings. I am going to just attach the ends using this final link. So to do that, you're going to need to do this a little bit differently because you're going to have to interconnect both sides. So I've made my first loop and I'm adding it to my chain of beads here, and then I'm just finishing my wire wrapped loop here. Which I've royally messed up. So we're going to squeeze those wraps together and bring this around a little bit further, and then trim off the excess, making a flush cut. Okay, now I'm adding my bead. Hold the wire just about 1/4 inch above the bead. This is like before. Form a loop. And then I have my chain. So I have my chain in 2 pieces, so 1 for each side. So I've decided how long I want my necklace to be already and created the chain. The link to make the chain is in the description below the video, what we did last week. So I'm just going to start with 1 chain here. And so the end of the loop of the chain goes into this wire wrap loop. And then you just finish off the loop like you normally would, just kind of pretending like that chain isn't there. Just push it off to the side, let it dangle down. And then going around a couple of times here. And then trim off the excess wire. And then we're just going to make sure that end is not poking out. So that's one side. On the other side, you could just do the same thing. Leave, I guess you would have to leave 2 of your beads. But I already have that. So what I'm actually going to do is just create another chain link so I can connect. So again, I'm just going to do this quickly. You can watch the video on how to make the chain links, but I'm just going to make our first loop, add it in, and again, you could just make this simpler by using jump rings to attach. I just don't want to use jump rings. And for no real reason except, I don't know, I just like the way it looks without the jump rings, but I mean, jump rings don't really make it look that much different, so it's really up to your own personal preference. Adding the other side of the bead, so now we'll have chain on both sides, and finish up this chain link here. And then I'm just going to check the length, make any adjustments. If I need to make it any shorter, I'll just kind of cut off a link. If I want it longer, I can add a link. Just make sure it's even and make any adjustments there. Okay, so we have our wire wrapped bead links with our wire wrap chain, loop chain on the sides here. So I'm just going to check it for fit. So I tried on my necklace and I ended up that I wanted 7 links on each end, and that plus my beads in the front ended up being 22 inches long. So I actually tried it around my neck along with the chain from last week because we want them to be layered. I actually put them on together. Well, I put on the one from last week and then I held on the one I'm making right now just to see how they would work together. So I'm happy with that. So you might have to do a little bit of adjustment for your own necklace. And now we're just going to add a clasp and that will be the end. If you need help opening and closing jump rings, I do have a video, I'll link below, on how to open and close jump rings properly. And we're just going to add a lobster clasp to the end, and then you could actually add clasp, or I'm sorry, you could actually add jump rings to the other end for the lobster clasp to hook into, but you could also just hook your clasp into the last loop on the chain and be done with it. So that is the necklace, and this necklace is fine, beautiful on its own. Of course, you could just keep it as is, wear it by itself, or you can add the chain from last week to it for a layered look. And next week, I'm actually going to show yet a third look to make a third layer for this necklace ensemble. So you can actually mix or match these. Like you could wear these two together, or this one and the one from next week together, or switch them around. Wear them just by themselves individually, or whatever works for you. So I hope you'll join me next week for the final necklace for this layered look. I also hope you'll join me for Rediscover Your Creativity and Make Jewelry. That is my 6-week e-course that my students love. It is 6 weeks of creativity boosters, jewelry skills lessons, and then jewelry projects. I think each week has 3 or more jewelry projects. I think most of them have 4 or more actually, and it's just so much fun. You get ideas for boosting your creativity, to keep in your toolbox. Whenever you're feeling creatively blocked, you can always come back to this class and try one of the creativity boosters again. It's running starting in the beginning of March. You can get signed up now, and on the first day you'll be right in it. It starts actually with an introductory lesson, and then we move right into the lessons the following week. So I hope you'll join me for that. That's Rediscover Your Creativity and Make Jewelry. The link will be below this video, along with any of the links I mentioned throughout the video. You'll find them in the description. Have a great week. I'll see you next week with a new project.